welcome back to Camden Interactive Series. Our topic today for discussion is Next Gen seeking an independent identity. More often than not, Next Gens are known to pursue independent identities, be it within or outside the family business. They seek to understand the business, the world, and everything on their own merit, not through any predefined lenses. However, because of this, there's always a risk of failure, a risk of loss, and a risk of letting down the family. Today, to discuss more on this topic and share her views, we have with us in conversation Anisha Ramakrishnan, Director, Transworld Group. Let us understand a next gen's perspective on not just seeking but also creating an identity for herself. Anisha joined her family business in 2016 and spearheads corporate social responsibility, real estate development, and the family office of Transworld Group, a shipping and logistics conglomerate. Anisha has also been a Camden Family Connect member since 2019. Welcome, Nisha. Thank you so much for doing this, and we welcome you. So, shall we get started?
Sure. Hi, Ayushi. Thank you for having me. Sure, we can start.
Great. So, Nisha, to begin with, just wanted to understand your journey with the Transworld Group. So, Nisha, can you give us like a brief about your family business, the Transworld Group?
Yeah, sure. So Transworld is a shipping and logistics company with our headquarters in Dubai as well as Bombay. So we're primarily a ship owning and logistics company.
How did you decide that you wanted to be a part of the family business?
Yeah, sure. So my journey is actually a very funny one. I'm sure it must be similar with you. In joining any family businesses, there are a lot of twists and turns, and it's sort of like you're learning what you want and like how you can sort of portray yourself in the best way as well. So I think for me, a lot of it started sort of just growing up in Dubai. You see a lot of like a lot of buildings and a lot of construction, and there's something new every day to see. So actually, initially when I got into college, I applied for architecture. So that was something that I was quite passionate about at that time. But then sort of the more I did it, and I think this is something that sort of you get from the American system. So the more you do it, then you sort of understand whether you like it or not, or whether it clicks or not, and you're able to sort of switch around and see what suits you best. So I think through that, I sort of switched out and went into business and political science. And once I switched in that, I sort of felt more of a passion and like a drive for that. Something I've always been keen with, as well as numbers, like maths, AP Calc was something that was like very like easy for me and like very like fun for me almost. So I think from that, then eventually after I graduated from my undergrad, I did a few internships again to sort of understand where my passion lies and where the future would take me. So even in my university at the time, you could intern while you were studying.
Okay.
So you had like a whole job application process. While you were studying, you apply for jobs and you intern and work together. So I think through those sort of small stints that I had, whether it was 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I think that really helped me get clarity in terms of what I want and how I can make an impact. So I think through that, then I finally did my master's in shipping and finance. So finance is something like in numbers or in any type, like that sort of thing is how my mind functions the best. And I think shipping is just something as well. It is something that we've just spoken about as a family quite a bit. It's something that we have like dinner conversations about growing up. So it just felt very natural as like a, natural connect that organically came together.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I think as you said, it has to be very naturally. And how did you sort of communicate this with your family, your decision to join the family business?
Again, I think that the decision of getting there was very organic. So it just sort of it happened through my internships of where the interest sort of lied and where it went to. And then eventually, when I wanted to apply for my master's, I think that's when we had more of a discussion because I said, this is a course, it sort of fits what I'm looking for. What do you think? And then I always felt that no matter what I did, if I did work with the family, then I feel like I could always make a greater impact. So then it just sort of went towards there.
Okay. And how, like, when you, joined the family business, was there any, like a predefined structure, like, or a vertical that you had to start with, or you could choose how you wanted your journey to begin?
Yeah, so my brother is also part of our family business. So I think both of us sort of started similar in the sense where you don't really get like a cabin or anything. You sort of start from the bottom. So you sit with everyone, and I think that's the best learning process where you actually sit where the work happens. So you like hear everything, you understand everything, you interact with everyone. I think that is the best learning experience ever. Because I think when you're sitting with the people who are actually doing the work and you're physically doing the work as well, like filling out the forms, filling out the things, I think that's when you actually pick up and learn. Because I think up until that point, everything is just sort of strategy and up in the air. But I think when you have that experience of physically doing it, it really makes a difference.
So that's great. And how did you so like you said that this is you wanted to start with starting from scratch, and then slowly you build your way up. So once you were obviously like there and you established yourself, what changes did you make under your leadership?
Sure. So a few of the different things I look at. So one of the things I look at is CSR. So I think with that, I think the massive change that I brought in was initially, I think we looked at it more as philanthropy. So it was a little bit more ad hoc. But once I came in and sort of looked at it from a holistic point of view, then I think I created more metrics. So even all the projects we work with that are long term, we have an MIS. So they regularly report in terms. So it's not just qualitative, but it's also quantitative. So I think adding that thing and sort of having like a grand plan where again we have 4 pillars that we have in under CSR, and within those 4 pillars is what we focus on. And those 4 pillars again come from the United Nations SDGs. So it has like an overarching theme, but at the same time it's very clear and focused. So that's an example. Then the other thing I look at is also the family office. So along with me, there's another individual that I work with. So I think it's similar. I think most of these things where we look at, we bring in a lot of clarity and a lot of focus in terms of defining things. Like I think the biggest thing is just defining with dates and deadlines. And just having metrics to measure everything. I think that's sort of the clarity that we bring in.
Correct, correct. And how did you get your, stakeholders of the company to sort of align with your changes, like, to see the changes that you're going to bring about?
Yeah, so I think that for that I'm very grateful for not being in a cabin. I think when you sit with people and you speak with them, you always get to know them one on one. And I think in Transworld itself, we're very like family driven organization where we speak to individuals out of office as well. In an office, we have families. So I think knowing individuals one on one really helps. And I think the crux of the issue is you're trying to solve it together. So if you sort of go about it together, I think you always have their buy-in as well. And then it's easier to move with that.
Correct, correct, absolutely. And how was it, how difficult or easy was it for you to have your employees sort of accept you as the new leader? How was that?
Yeah, so I think initially it took a while, but I think initially it would take a while for like anyone starting in any company, not just like a position driven thing. So I think it took maybe like a few months, but then I think once you sort of speak to people, once you get to know them, I think then that sort of changes the whole equation of how you approach it.
Oh, the peon said like, baby, I hear. And I was like, this is, you have to like sort of, then, they obviously learned. And then, obviously I was formally told, okay, you have to, start by, sitting in this team. And then, like I had proper work hours, and, I would sit with the team and work with them and everything and, report. So I used to at that time report to my uncle because I was working under him. So I would report to him. So, these things are very important. Otherwise, you sort of don't get taken seriously, like you said.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if you're held accountable for something, then you will be taken seriously. Like if you have deliverables, then you have no choice. And they also have no choice. You have to be taken seriously.
Absolutely. And how did you, because we're talking about, seeking an independent identity, how do you sort of create your own identity, but yet keeping in mind the vision of the family business?
Yeah, I think even if you look at the family of the four of us, we're very strong in terms of what we believe in. So I think like when I come into the business, I think my perspective is a lot of like the social work as well I did in college. So whether it's sustainability or whether it's impact investment, so like that's a lot of my focus. So bringing those things that are core issues and core things that you feel strongly about is sort of how you have that edge.
I wanted to ask you actually one more question. How do you sort of balance your work and personal life? Since you're a mom and you're a wife, so how do you balance all of those roles?
With work from home and this whole, I think the whole idea of work from home being accepted is has made it extremely easy to just balance out. So for example, now if I am working from home, then my son would be playing downstairs, and then at any time I have like a break, I can go quickly down, play with him, and then come back up. um but that definitely makes it easier and much more like joyful, because otherwise
Yeah.
it should be very stressful to balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think COVID has obviously made life easier that way. So, you're at home and you can work and also spend time with your family as well. Anisha, we'll do like a quick rapid fire round kind of thing. We'll ask you a few quick questions. So, first question is, if not for Trans World, what would your alternate career choice be?
So my husband and I kind of laugh about this. If it wasn't for Transworld, I'd probably be working at like a NGO saving like coral reefs on
Oh,
Andaman Islands. Yeah.
oh, that's great. I think that would have been that's wonderful.
Yeah.
India or Dubai?
Um, India for family, but Dubai is home for me.
Oh, okay. Business or philanthropy? What do you think is your calling?
I think business, because you get to see more tangible things. I feel from a different aspect. I think you can make a bigger impact somehow with that.
Okay. And how do you like unwind after a hard day at work?
How do I unwind? Usually going out with friends, or just hanging with my husband. Yeah, and just walking around downstairs and going to different restaurants or cafes.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's my favorite also of unwinding. And what one advice if you would give your younger self, what would that be?
I think the crazier the ideas, the better, and just follow through with the craziness.
Okay, that's great. So that's great. Thank you so much, Anisha, for sharing your views so candidly and sharing all of this knowledge. I think the Camden community is, very grateful, and they have a lot to learn and from your perspective. So thank you so much. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching us at the Camden Interactive series. And stay tuned for our next one. Till then, stay safe and take care. Thank you.
Thank you.